Bow before Nilfgaard's rightful empress.
Bow, barbarian. Bow low.
Good evening or morning, guys. This is Orpheus, and I'm sorry for the delay on this video. You see, I've been on a visit to nature, mountain trekking mostly, and while I had a video on mind, I had it planned. I couldn't believe that in the 21st century an internet connection could be so bad in some areas. So I had no means to prop my video up to the quality you, my friends, are used to, and also there was absolutely no way for me to upload it. Hell, I could not even play a game of Gwent. Anyways, these dark times are in the past now, and I am back. Those obstacles did not stop me from thinking about Gwent, at least. And while I was pretty much sure that I was gonna show you a Northern Realms deck, as I was coming down the mountain, and I did hurt my knee by the way, in case anyone cares, thank you, I changed my mind. And from that moment on, I was preparing a mill deck to show you. Yes, a mill deck. Those are kinda my guilty pleasure from time to time, you see. But honestly, it did not perform the way I hoped it would, and I was switching more and more cards, and here's the result, of which I now call a half mill deck, partly because its origins lie in a mill deck, partly because it was still able to maintain some of its former self, and during the match you're usually able to mill around 3 to 4 enemy cards right out of his deck, so here we go. This deck is kinda a blend of two different approaches to play Nilfgaard these days. One of them is a remnant of a mill deck, like I already said, and the second one is an adaptation of a pretty much classic Assimilate Nilfgaard, with the emphasis on playing two portals during one game, with each of them able to call either Ducal Guards or Artfane Heavy Cavalry. Those four cards are the only ones with provision cost 4 in the deck, so just make sure you don't have any of those in hand for obvious reasons. You see, one of those portals I was talking about is usually bound to happen in the first round, and the second one preferably in the decisive round. Obviously, you need to use Asire to be able to call your second portal with Oneiromancy or Matahari in some cases. In both of those rounds, those portals are the cornerstones of your build. Pertaining to other cards in the deck, Glynis, sorry what a name, is also one of your heart engines. I usually try to play her in the decisive round, but in case of some unfortunate draws, it's not unhealthy to play her earlier on. Just make sure you've got enough cards at your disposal to buff her up. One of those cards is also Cantarella, really an excellent card. When paired with Coup de Grace, she's even better. I actually considered playing Handgate Sword just for her, but it made the deck more draw dependent, and I went with other options. Also bear in mind what in my opinion is one of the best mill combos, that is Cantarella paired with Traherne. You see, with Traherne you're able to get an idea of what the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck look like. You banish one of those and you can play the other two with Cantarella and Coup de Grace. It can quite often destroy some of those cards your opponent would definitely miss in the rest of the game. So try to save your Cantarella for these kind of situations, but definitely play her in the first round or in the second round, because later on, obviously, your opponent usually has all or most of his engines already in hand. I don't feel like I need to explain here how the assimilate combos of this deck work, just those most important cards in this respect, apart from portals and Glynis, the receivers, are Bratans for pretty clear reasons. There's bribery, even though bribery is a big lottery. and quite often, honestly, it's not able to bring up a really strong gold card from your opponent's starting deck, unlike your leader's ability, the double cross, which you quite certainly want to save until the end game, when it's much more easier to bring up a really strong card. There's also one Dimeritium bomb included, just in case your opponent relies heavily on some scenario. I know it's a little more double-edged pick than a bomb heaver, but so far it really helped me a lot more than it did hurt me. I've played I think around 12 games with this deck, lost 2 only in Pro Rank. In my opinion, it goes really well in Nilfgaard Mirrors, beats Northern Realms in every game I've experienced so far, also good versus Syndicate and Monsters. So far the most troubles brought Skellige. Both of the games I've lost with this deck were versus Skellige, but not a Patricidal Fury one. Actually, one time I lost to a deck that I did show you last time, the Reckless Flurry one, and the second time it was a pretty weird Gedinate second wind Skellige deck, but in this matchup I had a really bad draw, to be honest, so... Anyways, I think this deck is absolutely viable to play competitively. It's not hard to learn, it's not like super easy either, but you should have a general grasp of what it's about in a couple of games.
I shall do what I must.
And that means it's off to the front yet again. So...
Your attention, please. I shall now speak.
Play. I mean, I shall now play. So, whom do we have here? And it's a Nilfgaard. Enslaved one.
Nilfgaard.
Is it a 5 or 6? Yes, it's a 6 enslaved, so a lot of tactic cards in his deck. 12 to be exact. What is this draw? Good lord, what is this? You kidding me?
Anyone here to whom I can entrust my missive?
Bribery, Siri. Huh. So, I can actually get a hint on what his deck looks like. I think let's destroy Siri here. Siri Nova. But with this kind of draw, oh man, what are we gonna do? If we at least had Cantarella or something, but this is just honestly... What is this? Okay, let's go with Artorius.
The senses can be...
And obviously Artorius Vigo works really well with Artfane Heavy Cavalry.
Long may he reign!
Because the cavalry keeps its armor bonus. Like any card created by Artorius Vigo or any other in this particular matter. So he's really got a lot of... he's got 5 tactics cards in hand, so that means only one thing, I think. Huh.
Everyone has their secrets.
We've got only 3 tactic cards in hand, so our Vanandal Elite is not as powerful as his, but this is gonna be very hard. Without Portal, without Oneiromancy, without pretty much anything.
If not an illusion.
Ah, he's playing, now it's pretty clear that he's playing a reveal deck.
Her grace will not be pleased.
I think we may go into the second round with a card disadvantage. But I think I'm gonna try my Vilgefortz here. Yeah. I think I'm gonna try Vilgefortz because he probably does not have that many units in deck after using Artorius with Impera Brigades, so we might get a little lucky, like summoning his Yennefer or Triss or Tibor Egebracht. So yeah, let's do it.
Quite a menial task.
Or Vilgefortz. He's just 3 points ahead, but I think... Or wait a minute. It's spying now, so I can coup de grace it, or I can play Vilgefortz again. That would be nice. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play Vilgefortz again.
Target acquired. You mistake stars reflected in a pond for the night sky.
And Sartisius. But obviously, I was hoping for a little more than Sartisius. Should I pass here? I can play only Vanandel Elite with zero tactic cards even in hand. Yeah, it's passing time. But I think we managed to bleed his deck out a little.
Discipline, my lords.
Yeah, the lowest unit in this kind of decks is almost exclusively Mano Cohorn.
Clever maneuver.
And he's playing Imperial Diplomacy. Yeah, that's quite enough.
That's a nice ring.
He did thin his deck a lot. So if I were playing like full mill deck now, he'd have absolutely no chance. But maybe even in this case? What is this draw? It's Cantarella time. Definitely.
I shall be your eyes, my lord.
This is unfortunate. You know what I'm gonna do here?
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
I think... Wait a minute, he's... yeah, he knew I was gonna use Coup de Grace on Cantarella again. And obviously I would destroy his combo, so he forfeited. But it's not the kind of game I would like to show you, I think. So let's just do at least one more. Actually, in the last game, we had an absolutely terrible draw. And even with that, we were able to bring our opponent to forfeiting the game. So that's kinda nice. But then again, I would like to show you this deck in all its glory, and Royal Inspiration. Haven't seen Royal Inspiration ability in quite a while, honestly. Dimeritium Bomb in hand. Huh. Is he gonna play Scenario, the Siege? I don't think so. But if he's gonna surprise me with it. We're obviously able to call... Oh, what? Olga? That's interesting. Interesting choice. I'm gonna start with drawing on Neuromancy just to make it a little safer ride later on in the first round. And I'm gonna go with Portal next. Kerak Frigate, yeah, so his deck is not that original after all. Olgat is definitely not a soldier. Okay. For the Duquesa, Ducal Guards on board, and Boiling Oil is dealing with one of them. Now it's time for Artorius Vigo, and his Kerak Frigate is not gaining charges. Interesting. Obviously, let's use Artorius with Artfane Cavalry so that it keeps its armor bonus. Kerak City Guard does not scare me. There's nothing he can do. Should I go with Vilgefortz here? Is it one of those situations? Alright. Alright.
You mistake stars reflected in a pond. Army's a waste of time.
But I'm pretty sure he still has like Amphibious Assault and Egmont. He's playing Egmont now, alright. Let's go with Cantarella, and let's hope for the best.
I shall be your eyes, my lord.
Try them infantry, yeah, that really isn't the best. But on the positive note, at least it disrupts a minor combo of his a little. Anna Stranger, and boosted Anna Stranger at that. Now that's better. What? I really... Man, he's forfeited again. I really would like to show you... Oh my god. Okay, let's play another one. Guys, honestly, I'm trying here to show you the way how this deck is supposed to be played, or at least how I do play it. But every opponent is forfeiting the game. I don't know why. I think, yeah, maybe the first opponent would have a really hard time winning the game, but the Northern Realms forfeit after that. That was kinda a rash decision, I think. So now we're playing Ursine Ritual Skellige. So I think that's kinda obvious. What are we gonna face here? He's definitely playing Wildcaro and Ceres and maybe Lepigadmont. These decks, unfortunately, are kinda all the same. Some of them though include Igni or Irden, so I have to watch out for that. Yeah. Ceres as the first card, okay.
Step careful there.
What is going on? What is going on today with these games? Let's just draw our portal.
We dance, for young is the night.
Now that's some serious dancing going on here. But this combo, I don't think this is how it's supposed to be played, honestly. Maybe he just played a series to get rid of it and resurrect it later with Lippy or something, or, you know, resurrect it, move it back to your deck, but... For the Duquesa again. So I wonder how many minutes are left until he's gonna forfeit the game, because that's just how things work today. Yeah, stunning blow. And should I go with Artorius or Cantarella here? I don't have Coup de Grace, so Artorius might be a little better choice.
You will not regret this, good sir.
Long live the Emperor! Long may he reign!
I don't have Vilgefortz either. It's unfortunate. No Trahern. I think in this last couple of games that I recorded and showed you, I'm really getting really bad draws, and my opponents are forfeiting one after another, and it's just it's bizarre, really. No way. No way. No, seriously, this is not funny. I'm starting to lose my patience here. Are you telling me he just left the game? No way. This can't be happening, really. Well, if it's another game won after nothing I've done, really. Yeah, I've won those 3 matches with 0 effort, with a really bad draws. Yeah, as you can see, guys, this deck, you don't even have to play it. You're winning one game after another. 3 wins in a row. And I did absolutely nothing. I sincerely hope that this game is gonna be different from the 3 games we've played already. We are facing Nilfgaard Imposter. That can be interesting. I'm looking forward to this match. Obviously, no Ducal Guard, no Artfane Heavy Cavalry, but we've got no Portal in hand. We can call Portal with Matahari, and we can call Cantarella with Oneiromancy, but no Trahern for us. But still, I think it's playable. He's playing Portal too, so he's going Assimilate as well. Alright.
This dance you will never forget.
Let's see how our different approaches to assimilate decks work out against each other. So he's not playing like double portal. That's good to know.
Right! Trample them into the mud!
It's only three cards. We are only 3 cards in, man. Just play something. Duchess Informant, yeah.
Everyone has their secrets.
So he really got his assimilate engine on and running. I don't care that much, honestly. Let's just go with Artorius Vigo.
You will not regret this, good sir.
We've got 4 assimilate receivers on our side of the board as well. So it's gonna be interesting. But he seems perplexed already. That's not a good sign, man. Coup de grace on Duchess Informant, such a rookie mistake. He really does like his art feints, doesn't he? So I guess let's risk Cantarella. It may bring to our hand, to our side of the board pretty much anything at this point. Like Glynis! Haha, that's pretty nice.
Great sacrifice.
I wonder what he's gonna do without his Glynis. Because I really think he was gonna use the imposter ability on my Glynis. But in this case we have 2. So I think his combo is kinda ruined now, so just forfeit, man. I think it's just a couple of 2 more minutes.
No one can hide from me.
Well, that was really lucky for him. But we can definitely continue here.
I shall be your eyes, my lord.
Huh. Yeah, let's reveal and banish something.
Time to get our hands dirty.
Like Operator. And we are only 6 points behind, so... And we are playing Duchess Informant next. He played it already. Unless he's gonna pass, I think, or commit like his leader's ability, I think he may actually even go into the decisive round with a card disadvantage. Maybe, of course. Well, I guess he was hoping for the Imperial diplomacy, but no, he got only tourney juiced.
I hate nothing more than a creaky door.
Yes, sir. As ordered.
I hate nothing more than a creaky door. Passing already? Okay, man. Well, alright.
Verily?
So we have won the first round because he passed. He doesn't have Glynis. We destroyed also his operator. He committed Triss, he committed Portal. And he's not playing double Portal. That does not seem likely from the way he was playing, from the cards he played. I don't think Scenario is gonna appear either. This is nice. I think this may be one of those situations. No Wilgefords and no Brathens. You know, let's try this.
Yes? What is it?
I think it's definitely playable in 2 rounds. He played an 11, a 13, a bribery also, I forgot about that. And he played his Cantarella. And now his Brathens.
The shame I have no
We are playing our second portal.
For the Duchessa!
For the Duchessa! Yeah, that was kinda obvious. But let's continue.
You do the Emperor proud! Oh!
Oh! I think I'm gonna go with Oneiromancy here. And yeah, Brathens. Even though using like Vilgefords on his Brathens would be nice. We have many ways to proc the assimilate bonus, so let's just go with our own Brathens.
I'm falling behind.
I hate nothing more than a creaky door. Sorry, but just... Yeah, here comes the imposter. I was wondering when it's gonna happen. And he actually did use it on Glynis. If it's not Vilgefords, then I don't really mind.
Here's our chance.
It's only experimental remedy, so... Alright.
My duty? To stick my nose where it doesn't belong.
Artorius Vigo is out of the way. We have only 2 assimilates. And he has 3 points of assimilate right now.
Dum anima est, fes est.
Everyone has their secrets. Everyone.
Time to get our hands dirty.
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna treat you the same way, my friend.
Here's our chance.
No artifact compression, really? That's what he has in his deck? But we are 14 points ahead. But I don't think we will be able to win the second round. With those cards he had in hand, he was actually prepared for a situation like this.
Just a peek. That is all I need.
We follow Letho's lead.
Conspiracy, I guess.
A highly curious case.
I hate nothing more than a creaky door.
How many of those he has?
Time to get our hands dirty.
Your name, young man, demands you be cursed into an urchin.
My duty? To stick my nose where it doesn't belong.
16 points ahead. Okay, so show me what you got, man. But I have only 2 cards left to draw. He got really lucky with those Duchess informants earlier on. But now he didn't get lucky. At least that's positive.
Wise choice.
Well, what a surprise. Another forfeit. I knew it. I knew it. Okay, but guys, sorry, I know I've only showed you like one regular game. This time, this one. But I tried my best. And this one was pretty intense actually. We won in 2 rounds, that's always a bonus. Guys, today was somewhat special. This deck has some abilities I was not aware of. Apparently it can quite easily induce your opponent with an irresistible urge to forfeit the game. So in these terms, it may actually be the strongest deck I've ever showed you. Anyways, please let me know in the comments what do you think about this one. I mean, the hidden abilities are kinda nice, aren't they? Also guys, please subscribe if you haven't already. I am really grateful to all of you out there showing any interest in my Gwent. And once again, this was 0rfeus, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye bye!